everybody, how you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Grandpa.
I'm Aunt Becky.
I'm Matt.
I'm Kelly.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of stuff on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help. Oh, it's not nice out. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. All last night and into this morning, we have been dealing with a pretty crazy rainstorm. I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about the greenhouse last night while I was trying to sleep. I was hearing the high winds outside mixed with the pounding rain that we've been receiving. It made me a little nervous, but when I got to the farm this morning, everything looked good, so that made me happy. But we still are dealing with this pounding rain, and occasionally we'll have some heavy wind gusts blowing through. So far this morning, we've got the farm market all set up, and Dad just got back from the wholesaler, so we should have everything we need. It finally stopped raining, so we are gonna get moving on to chores. We're gonna head down around back and get these animals all taken care of. We'll move on to checking greenhouses later. I don't think it's gonna rain anymore today, but just for the off chance that it might, let's just get the animals done right away. How are you doing, you big baby? Oh, it's nice and dry in there? You're nice and dry? Good, good, good. I don't know how much rain we got last night, but let me just say, it is sloppy out here. I just got all the grain dumped in for the cattle. They are all munching away. They all look content, so that makes me content. I got the eggs in the older batch of layer hens all collected. While I was working on that, Daniel was grabbing a little more feed for the cattle, and he also got the chicken eggs in the new batch. Now, granted, there wasn't near as many as there is with the first batch of layers that we have, but it's still nice to see the eggs growing. It's still nice to see the eggs laying there. Tell you what, everybody, I am not getting tired of this view. It looks beautiful. With how green everything has gotten, and with the trees all coming out in blossom, it's a beautiful sight. Sorry, I stepped in the mud, I almost fell down. Doing our morning walkthrough in greenhouse number 6. Things look really good, nothing seems to be too dry. Hanging baskets up above, they seem to have all their waters put into the correct place, except this one right here, which I don't know if I can reach. Nope, we'll have to figure something out. We've reached the momentous time with our cold crops that are going to be going out into the soil. About 2 weeks till planting time. Woo-hoo-hoo. We're seeing way more dry spots in here today. It's a good sign. It's okay for us to let the plants dry out a little bit, as long as it's just not for a considerable amount of time. If the plants start to dry out a little bit, that helps to develop the roots. It allows the roots to continue growing and stretching out for more moisture. So if we see dry spots occasionally, not a big deal. We just don't want to let them go on for too long. Next stop, the rain gauge, because I'm very curious right now. From late last night into this morning, we got about 1.5 inches of rain. And that rain's on top of everything else that we've been getting recently. People are gonna just start to think it only rains here, but it doesn't. There's sunshine occasionally. So our next thing we're gonna be working on brings us up into the germination greenhouse, where at the moment it is 80 degrees, so it is toasty in here. Recently we've been seeding for our first planting of peppers, and some of the trays sometimes will get doubled up. As you're using the air seeder and when you flip over the tray, sometimes seeds can hop from one cell to another. So we're just gonna go through and make sure that there's only one plant in each cell. And if there does happen to be 2 in 1 or 3 in 1, we'll move them to a cell where there is no seed or there is no plant coming up. So we're just gonna go through each tray and try and fix them up and make them look nice. So Daniel and I are working on 2 different varieties, so we can't work together. But essentially I'm gonna be going from cell to cell, finding spots where there are 2 plants in one cell, and then pulling one of them out. And then if I find a cell that is empty, I'm just gonna plop it right into that cell. So we've already got 2 extra plants here. 3 extra plants, check it out. They're doing good. There may be some of you that are curious and wondering if this is even necessary or you have to do this. Not technically. However, we want our plants to grow as efficiently as possible. And if you have 2 plants pulling off the same amount of moisture, well, then it's not going to be good. As these plants get a little bit larger, they're going to be fighting for root space. Root development is very important, especially when we start to transplant out into the field. So by going through and pulling out any of the doubles, it's giving each plant an equal opportunity to grow and mature. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we're doing this. It's just so that it saves us from any headaches later on, and we can make sure that each plant has an equal and fair opportunity to grow. You know what, Daniel? How about you stay on your side of the table and I stay on my side of the table?
Oh, did you say something? I just hear this real loud whining in my ear.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
What? You say I'm whining?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to talk to you.
You heard it? I heard it again.
Those first couple trays that I was going through, we had already gone through them once. There was just a few extras that I wanted to pull out. Now I'm moving on to the trays that look a little bit rougher, like this one right here. This is a bell pepper, and you can see we got a double, triple, double, 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 double. There's just, oh, there's a lot going on here. Now I don't want to say nothing. Grandpa seeded this tray, and at the time he was moving a little fast. He was rushing. And it's kind of obvious that he was rushing. And as we were working on it, I mentioned to him, I said, hey, you're gonna have a lot of doubles there. And you know what he said to me? We'll fix it later. That's no problem. I was like, uh-huh. We'll see who's fixing it later. Where is he? I don't even see him. As much as I'd love to sit here and tease Dad about this tray being really, really full, it's okay because the germination rates on peppers can be a little fidgety sometimes. So the fact that we have some extra plants in the tray is a good thing, because if the seed did not come up well, we'd be in trouble. But since the seed came up just fine, we're gonna have extra plants that we can put into a new tray and it'll be fine. We'll just have a few extra peppers for our first planting of bell. You having fun yet over there, Daniel?
Oh, I'm having so much fun.
Oh, wonderful. That's all I needed to hear. As long as you're having a good time, I'm having a good time. Now, in the past, we had seeded into the 512s and just transplanted into the trays that we would use for the fields. It's recent, as of about like 5 years ago, that we started seeding right into these trays directly. And it was just to cut down on the amount of space that we use up. But the only problem that we've had with germinating and with seeding into these is we have to go through multiple times and pick out all of the extra plants that grow up. We have to make sure that there's plenty of room for each plant. So it can be a little difficult and it can be a little time consuming, but the product that we've been able to put out into the field, that has been where we've seen the benefits. And one of the biggest reasons that we're able to do this is because we have more time at this point in the year. We're also saving a lot of time because when we had to transplant all this stuff, oh, that was a lot of work. There'd be many times where we'd be in greenhouses for days, weeks at a time, just transplanting peppers, tomatoes, cole crops, anything that we were going to be putting out into the soil. Some of the biggest problems you have when you're starting your own seeds, we kind of skip past because we have this special greenhouse. Germination rates are usually up for us. We don't have to worry about our plants searching for sunlight, getting tall and lanky. These plants are nice, stocky, and tough, kind of like Daniel. But the fact is, this greenhouse saves us a lot of headaches. And the fact that we've seeded and transplanted this way for, I don't know, the past 5 years, it can be a little frustrating at times, but the benefits far outweigh the cons. What are you doing sitting down here in the chair?
I'm on break.
No problem. Daniel needs his breaks. He's a hardworking man. Dad has now joined us and he's gonna hop right in with helping us move some plants around. We also are taking every tray that has been completed, so we've gone through an entire tray, and then we're moving it onto the wagon and we're gonna be taking it down to the lower greenhouses. Few reasons for that. One big reason is we need the space in the germination greenhouse. The other big reason is these plants, they start to get tall and lanky if you keep them in here for too long, and we don't want them to grow too fast on us. By moving them out of the hot and humid weather, it's gonna slow down their growth a little bit, which will be nice for us because then they won't be too large when it comes time for us to transplant them into the soil. Yeah. Someone really overseeded some of these trays. We're not gonna say any names, but they do happen to be the oldest one in this greenhouse. We'll just use that as like just a little secret for you guys to figure out who did it. But because we need more trays, I'm gonna run down and get a few filled up. We are going through all the pepper trays and just pulling out the doubles.
I saw lots of doubles.
I know.
Who planted them?
We're not gonna say who planted them. It wasn't me. See, Rhonda's trying to get me in trouble. Trying to out somebody. The greenhouse is really starting to get filled up now. We have Matthew with us, so we got all the boys up here working on transplant. It does seem that everybody is working on a different type of pepper though, so we do have to be careful and communicate so as not to get anything mixed up. I mean, it's all gonna be for us for the most part anyway, so it really isn't too big of a deal, but still, we don't want to be planting peppers all over the farm. We want everything kind of to just stay together. We've made a lot of progress. We've been moving through trays rather quickly. We brought up these 98s and we've been filling them up with certain varieties. I just got another extra tray of Bell, so that'll be nice. And then I have one more tray right here to search through. And then we should be done with these trays right here. Dad is finishing up a few more trays of the long hots, and then we're gonna have our wagon all completely filled. We will then be taking this down to greenhouse number 6. I'm still working on the Revolution bell peppers, so I've got to run down to greenhouse number 4, or the largest greenhouse, and grab some more 98 trays. Oh, it's a whole process here, but we're just trying to keep up. Oh. They took the wagon down around back, so before we finish up with the peppers, I'm gonna go help them unload it. I also gotta get the dirt off me. I think some went down my shirt, some is in my beard. Oh, wonderful. Oh, now see, that is a view. All the cattle out on pasture grazing. Oh, so beautiful. We have our cole crops down here getting ready to plant. And now we've got some peppers down here getting ready to plant. Now some of these peppers don't need to be watered. However, because we disrupted the roots on a lot of these trays, we want to run over them quick with the hose just to get everything solidified again. And things are looking good. We got a lot of trays moved down here, and we just got the call that it is lunchtime. So we're gonna run up and get something to eat. Let's go, Pop Pop, let's go. It's time to eat.
I'm coming.
All right, for lunch today, it looks like we are having hamburger barbecue. We've also got some macaroni salad. After we got finished with lunch, I started talking to Joel for a little bit. He's been telling me how the horses have been doing today. I was telling him about what we're working on in the greenhouse. Very shortly, we'll be back to working together. But for now, we're not working together.
Just talking, catching up.
Just talking, catching up. It's not like we married sisters or anything. You coming over to my house tonight?
Yeah, you got pizza, right?
Yeah, I'm eating pizza. We're back up in the germination greenhouse. We were able to get all those trays pulled out, so we no longer have to worry about doing any transplanting. Something we do need to worry about though is filling all this open area back up, which we're getting ready to seed some peppers. Now, Dad, the people are gonna be curious, how many varieties are we doing?
Just one variety.
Just one variety, but 17 trays. We're gonna be seeding some bell peppers. First things first, we gotta get our tags all put into place because, you know, we don't wanna get confused. Before we have been putting peppers in these trays, we had something called Mariana in there. Mariana is a plum tomato. So we had plum tomatoes in all these trays last year, but now they're gonna be peppers. So good deal. Uh-oh. The really cool thing is when sometimes you're working on doing some seeding, and last year you were seeding, for example, Mountain Fresh tomatoes, and then the tags on the trays are all Mountain Fresh tomatoes. Oh, that is nice. I don't know why that feels so good. It does. Gotta get our dirt all worked up here. It's kind of dried out. Anytime we're seeding any type of vegetable, we try and make sure that we apply a thin layer of this fine soil that we have here. This is gonna help when the seeds start to germinate. They don't have to push through a lot of material or even tire themselves out by trying to sprout. By using this finer soil, it gives us better germination rates. We've been doing this for the past few years. Highly recommend it. Moving right along. Now right here you see 17 trays of Revolution bell peppers. This also is part of that first large planting that we do. So if you're looking at 17 trays, 100 per tray, it just starts to put it in perspective how many plants we are going to be putting into the soil this year. And you have to remember, we pick all of these plants multiple times. I wish I could tell you how many peppers over the years we have picked that we've seeded ourselves, but it's just a crazy number. This is one of my favorite things to think about. Right now, when we just seeded, when we're watering, in no time, we will be putting these plants into the soil and we'll be picking. I just got finished with working in greenhouses for the day. I enjoy working in the greenhouses, especially when we have this cooler weather. It's more enjoyable. I don't know, not being cold is nice. So the next thing we're gonna do involves some figuring. We're not gonna get to working on it today, but it's something we really need to start thinking about. You've seen over the past few videos, we have really been loading stuff into greenhouse number 6 and greenhouse number 5, as we've mentioned. Well, we just need it, and it's full of calves. So that's one of the things that prompted us to get this whole area cleaned up and looking nice. And now we need to worry about building. We want to move the calves from the greenhouse. We need the space. It's going to be too hot, and this is the perfect place to do it. So Dad and I are going to figure on some supplies that we need to build a roof. It shouldn't take too long. We kind of know what we're doing. We just got finished discussing some numbers for some material. There's a few things we try and keep in mind. One, we want to keep costs down because, yeah, we don't want to spend too much money. But we also have to think about the animals. Are we only going to have calves there? Ideally, yes, but you never know if we're going to have to hold some larger cattle there. So we got to make it strong enough to withstand the larger animals. All right, everyone, we are now home. It's been a little while since I picked up the camera, but we just had dinner. We had pizza tonight. Oh, and some wings. It was so good. We've also been washing a lot of bottles and stuff. The whole family's here. We're just having a great time. We got Mimi, Pop, we got Uncle Joel, Aunt Megan over here just holding babies. I've got Lily with me. Lauren literally just got finished feeding Ronnie, so he's sitting down there enjoying himself. But as you guys know, it's the end of the day. Our bellies are full. That means this is where we're gonna end the video. If you have not already, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to hit 200,000 subscribers. Also, if you could like the video, that helps us out a ton. As I mentioned before, this is where we're ending the video. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.